Hello and welcome to Shared Value Conversations, a podcast exploring how African businesses and leaders are embedding purpose into profit and creating impact through shared value. I'm your host, Kate Wansati, and today's episode is special. We are shining a spotlight on a milestone moment, the launch of Shared Value Kenya. Our guest is someone at the helm of this new chapter. He's the CEO of Shared Value Kenya, a passionate advocate for purpose-driven leadership and a familiar face in business circles, Mr. Bernard Kiragu. Bernard, welcome to the show.
Asante sana.
I love that. So just to kick things off, I'm curious about your thoughts on shared value. What's the one thing about working in this shared value space that might surprise our listeners?
Oh, interesting that you asked that, because businesses have for a long time had certain practices that align with a shared value. And by this, I mean aligning with the wider stakeholder needs. And so it's nothing new, really, other than trying to formalize this and having businesses really document this and tell their stories so that they can actually get the value of the various initiatives. So it's nothing new. And we've had this discussion from how do you convert your CSR project into something that's more sustainable and that serves both the business and the community at large. So it's really a matter of just refocusing and, importantly, documenting this and having this really at the core of every business activity.
That's great. That's great. So just you actually just segued right into my next question for you. That shared value is often described in many ways. Some see it as strategy, others see it as a mindset. What does it mean to you personally?
To me, I connect this to how really you go beyond profits and really have your business goals aligned with a service to really, I'd say, all stakeholders. But importantly, it's really key stakeholders like customers, your supply chain. How do you treat your suppliers? Do you have longer creditor days than you have debtor days, where you basically are negatively impacting your suppliers, so that you can really see how to profit? So it's really a wide range, and importantly, of course, as we've discussed, matters to do with ESG. I'm very passionate about the social, meaning that employees really should be at the heart of any program, and once you treat them well, they'll keep your customers happy, they say, and that's a proven fact. So that now address the S, it's a much wider conversation than we give it. We've given environment a lot of coverage. Governance has been discussed far too long, and I believe that everyone now has the right structure, save from family businesses, which are now moving into appointing advisory boards, so that now they align and really develop a long-term vision beyond the current generations of the business founders, or rather people who've really moved into second generation. So yes, we need to really address all these aspects, but very much aligned with the social aspect in ESG, which really for me is what drives sustainability and sustainable business practices. And for me, that's really what shared value is all about. It's no longer a case where you're just looking and considering shareholder return, which with time we've seen really has always been versus shareholder return versus all other interests combined. We're seeing more and more, and this will keep increasing. It will keep growing. So we must expect this plan for this. And like I always like to say, with communication, if you can, as an organization, always try and lead the narrative, but not always react. But have a deliberate plan on how you seek to engage with your stakeholders.
That's interesting because you're talking about shared value is how you do business. It's about how to ensure that you're putting people, in your words, the S, the social, at the heart of what you do. It's more than money. Thank you so much. So, looking ahead, please share with us your vision for Shared Value Kenya. How do you see it shaping the future of business and the lives of everyday Kenyans?
Oh, as earlier said, the two are intertwined. We are as businesses exist to serve the community. By community, really, I want to look at all stakeholders, but pretty much the regulatory bodies have always had their way and their say, but now here comes an unseen and often overlooked stakeholder in the consuming public, who will definitely vote with their feet once they feel they're not getting for a value for money. So locally, we have programs, at least in every entity, more so in the SMEs sector, where there's always an aspect of doing right, even if it's a social visit to probably a disadvantaged home where people do this over Christmas. But now we need to see how we can translate this into a daily activity, so that even the centers that we support, there's an aspect where we're just not creating a dependency, but we genuinely want to serve particular need. And of course, there's a lot of need for support, but how do we ensure that now this aligns with our business practices? And for me, it's simply communicating that. And importantly, with a focus on the SMEs, because the listed entities have had to really report on all of this in the integrated reports. Sadly, not many people are telling their story. Or rather, relating it to the business objectives. So we just need to keep on telling the right story. But importantly, is really have to look at how do we align this with the overall organizational strategy. So our current focus is on one, if you're going to work with the listed entities, for instance, how do we ensure that now there's both an upstream and a downward engagement? How do you ensure that your suppliers are doing the right things? And that's really how you create impact and value across the value chain. Then when you come to the consuming public, the products that or services that we seek to provide as an organization must be addressing a certain societal need. So that's it simply. How do we ensure that we go beyond just looking beyond the interests of our internal stakeholders and address this? And regulators are another key part, a key player in this. So, but they always ensure that we follow and comply with requirements. So for me, it's more of really looking at the social, as I said earlier, treating your suppliers well and making sure that your suppliers do well. Then people who are really have a retail downstream, really ensuring that indeed the same practices apply as we move along, and it's going to be a very enjoyable journey, I believe.
It sure is, because you're already looking beyond big corporates into the thriving informal and SME sector in Kenya, which is a very interesting playground to be in. So we will be looking forward to how you navigate that. Now, on to my next question. So, at the launch of Shared Value Kenya, one question stood out: the role of young people and the power of storytelling, especially through social media. Do you mind sharing with us how you see Kenya's youth and digital platform helping to drive awareness and inspire more organizations to adopt shared value?
And I would say we were very fortunate to have the participants we had and asked very valid questions, because this young generation are really the bulk of our consumers.
Youth.
And these are the ones who, if they feel they're not treated right, rather being shortchanged in any way, they will vote with their feet. And that's the first. I don't want to use the word danger, but that's really the first area that entities need to look at. How do you communicate? And it's true what you say. Communication has evolved in a large way. Even along the social media lines, the current consumers of our goods and services across the board are different platforms from where we were 5 years ago. So we really must engage them where they are, and it's a key aspect. We're fortunate enough to have people asking the right questions and demanding that indeed we should not have this conversation in air-conditioned hotels. Let's take this discussion to the street. And it's the only way, even for organizations, to really create value for their consumers.
That's great.
Yes.
Are there any plans to include the capacity build? I want to call it capacity building for the youth to understand shared value so that they can even practice it in their businesses?
I'm a passionate believer in capacity building, and I always see it as the first point, because there are aspects of shared value we will need to demystify. It's not something we'll keep talking high English about. We must really break it down, and it is the first starting point. And as we're crafting our communication plan, we'll definitely involve the youthful business leaders, because we expect that responsible business enterprises will involve disadvantaged groups. We've discussed disadvantaged groups for a very long time. And let's talk about the youth, promoting women doing business. And a category that's all often forgotten is people with disabilities. How do we ensure that, whereas I think there's a directive among government entities to ensure there's a 10% preserved for these groups, we need to flip this to make it a 70%. How do we ensure that we are really being serving and being served by people in the right categories? And that's really going to be a key solution to the unemployment problem that we have, not only unique to Kenya, but really in the region. For Kenya, it's an urgent need. Let's ensure that this money goes to the disadvantaged groups, not because they're connected, but because we'll talk to them and ensure that they deliver the value to their corporates. And then automatically, we'll be able to document this. And that becomes what gives corporates a license to operate within our society.
That's great, because I feel that the youth would be a very good watchdog, if I may use that, to ensure that businesses are actually implementing whatever it is that they're reporting.
And interesting bring that up, because the training and people asking, why do we need internal audit and external audit? It sounds like an overkill, but it's not, because oftentimes we say, rich water, drink wine. So there is no option. People are really, the consuming public is so enlightened. They know the right questions to ask. So when you post your mission vision on your website, people will call you out when you're not aligning what you said you'll do. So it's only a matter of time. It's already started to happen. But now we must address this and plan for this. We cannot just issue closely worded corporate vision statements and vision statements and expect not to be called out when we deviate from this. And it's about the
transparency.
Correct, and it's the only way.
Mm.
It's the only way for you to really get the license to operate.
Yeah. So you have amazing, impactful plans in place. How will you measure the success for Shared Value Kenya? What are the real indicators that you'll be looking out for to make sure that whatever it is that you're envisioning is actually coming to pass?
Tell you what, it's not going to be easy. Like we said after the launch, the hard work starts now. But I'm a strong believer in numbers, and numbers don't lie. We've set ourselves very ambitious target in terms of numbers and people we expect will be onboarding onto Shared Value. But importantly for us, we want to really take the message out there. And that's really how we'll get people to see the benefits and the value of joining Shared Value Kenya as members. But importantly, it's really to get support and buy-in from the consumer public. So we really must communicate right. And there's a way we will measure this to ensure that, one, to get to the desired number of participants, we will have addressed the needs that are there. But first things first, as we try to be, it's to focus on capacity building and ensuring that the right message is right out there with the right people.
All the best in that, because that means that we all should come together and drive this this message forward. So, what is the biggest opportunity for Shared Value Kenya right now? Where can it create the most meaningful change in its onset?
We must and have to focus, I say, on the disadvantaged groups. And I don't want to call them that next year. They must have gotten their fair value and be able to participate in driving business focus into the future. So we need to focus on really putting corporates in the right mind frame. When we ask you to consider who your suppliers are, how do you treat them? Then this goes beyond just that. Even in organizations, boards of directors, we speak about diversity and inclusion. We need to go, well, we're still struggling with the gender and numbers in boards so many years later. But I can report that indeed, the C-suites of most of the listed entities are really doing well. But now this needs to translate to boards. And then because the demographics is changing and we have more and more younger consumers, how do we ensure that they are on the table and discussing really and getting the right service and products that they need? So we need to keep working on diversity. And of course, gender remains a key area on this. And everyone must consistently upskill so that when you sit at that table, you're not there to fill a gender gap requirement. You bring value, and of course, we expect that we have people who can bring value in that regard. The same thing goes to the average ages, board age. We need to see how we can now try and start bringing this down, because the young population it keeps growing, and we must make sure that they're actively engaged in productive sectors of a society. So, and I know that all entities have plans to do this. Just a matter of really reminding them. You said you'll do this. How are you doing? And just focusing on that.
That's great. That's great. So this is actually a call to action to all other entities who believe in the same values that you do, who want to support and collaborate with you to actually reach out and partner with you to change the Kenyan business landscape, if I may say that. So this is a call to action. Please reach out to Bernard. Please reach out to Shared Value Kenya. See how the partnership or the collaboration can be able to happen. So Bernard, for entrepreneurs and businesses that are tuning in, what is one small practical step that they can take to begin embedding shared value in their work?
I would want to quote a famous saying that I've had in the last couple of weeks. Things don't go wrong, things start wrong. And it's easier to embed this right culture when we're still small entities. And then once you believe in it, it becomes the way you do things as an entity. So as you demand value from the bigger entities, let's all know that it's really a collective responsibility. And if each of us does what it's supposed to do, we are going to change the current thing that have future-proofed businesses, that you can just keep growing in the right environment, both internal and external.
You're standing on your word that capacity building is the first step. So anyone wanting to learn more about shared value to begin right or to start right, please again reach out to Bernard. Bernard, I want to thank you so much for such a rich and grounded conversation. And for me, some of the key takeaways are that Shared Value Kenya is here to localize purpose-driven businesses in a way that truly serves the Kenyan context. That communication and storytelling is for small businesses and large businesses alike are essential for us, because shared value is not a new concept. It is just that we are yet to demystify some of the aspects of the strategy of shared value and actually implement it. So before we close, are there any final words or call to action that you want to share with our listeners?
Simply, I'd want to say that having looked at most businesses, they all have aspects where they intend to communicate aspects of shared value. So like we said earlier, it's not a new thing. Let's really hit the road and say what we intended. We'd rather do what we said we will do, and it will be a very easy and enjoyable journey. So in short, I'll say, remind everyone, it's a journey, and we should not expect to turn things around like tomorrow. It will take us a bit of time, but let's have fun while at it, and while doing the right thing. So that now we have businesses that will really outlive us, and we start right, and we will end up in the right place in the years to come.
That's great. That's great. The longevity of your vision is flowing in your words. So that's it from us today. A big thank you to our guest, Bernard Kiragu, and to you, our listeners. Be sure to subscribe, share, and join the conversation on social media. Until next time, keep creating shared value. Thank you, Bernard.
Thanks.